Have you ever pondered why Juneteenth, not the day Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, marks the real end of slavery in America? This question might seem perplexing, as we often associate the end of slavery with Lincoln's signature. Yet the reality is far more complex. Juneteenth, a day celebrated with jubilant parades and insightful educational events, holds a profound significance that extends beyond the commonly accepted emancipation date. Let's journey back in time to explore the events leading up to this significant day. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by President Lincoln on September 22, 1862, was the first major step towards ending slavery in America. This remarkable document, signed in the midst of the Civil War, declared that all enslaved people in Confederate-held territories were to be set free. Yet, the Emancipation Proclamation was not a simple fix-all solution. It was a military measure, a strategic move designed to destabilize the Confederacy. The proclamation didn't apply to border states loyal to the Union where slavery still existed. It was also difficult to enforce in areas under Confederate control. The realities of the time meant that freedom, as declared on paper, was not immediately accessible for all. The Civil War played a pivotal role in the journey towards emancipation. It was a bitter, bloody conflict, a stark division between North and South, Union and Confederate. A battle of ideologies with the question of slavery at its heart. Yet this war also delayed the enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation. The Confederate South, defiant and unwilling to relinquish their hold on enslaved people, resisted the proclamation's enforcement. For them, it was a direct challenge to their economic system and way of life. But as the war raged on, Union forces advanced, and with each victory, the Emancipation Proclamation was enforced, bringing freedom to those enslaved in the newly conquered territories. Yet, news travelled slow in those days, and for many, freedom remained an elusive dream. The war ended in April 1865, marking a turning point in American history. But even then, the ripples of the Emancipation Proclamation had not yet reached every corner of the country. The wheels of change were in motion, but the journey was far from over. But the true liberation didn't arrive until 2.5 years later, on a day we now commemorate as Juneteenth. On June 19, 1865, Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, with an important message. Let's turn back the clock to that pivotal day. The American Civil War had ended 2 months prior, and General Granger had been tasked with taking command of the District of Texas. With him, he carried General Order No. 3, a message that would change the lives of thousands. Upon his arrival, he stood in the center of the town, surrounded by a crowd of curious and anxious faces. The tension was palpable as he began to read aloud the contents of the order. It was a simple declaration, but its implications were profound. The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This news was met with a mix of shock, disbelief, and jubilation. The fact of the matter was, the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed by President Abraham Lincoln over 2.5 years earlier, on January 1, 1863. Yet, it had taken this long for the news to reach the far-off state of Texas. Why the delay? Well, there are a couple of theories. Some posit that the message was deliberately withheld by enslavers to maintain the labor force on the plantations. Others suggest that the messenger was murdered to prevent the news from spreading. Regardless of the reasons for the delay, the arrival of this news marked a turning point. It represented a profound shift, not only for those who had lived under the yoke of slavery, but for the entire nation. It was a step towards the realization of the ideals of freedom and equality, ideals that the United States had been founded upon, yet had failed to uphold for a significant portion of its population. On this day, the last vestiges of slavery in the Confederate South were officially abolished. The day of freedom, so long overdue, had finally arrived. This day marked a new beginning for African Americans, a day of true emancipation, a day now known as Juneteenth. Juneteenth did not mark the end of the African American struggle for equality and justice, but the beginning. When the jubilant cheers of emancipation simmered down, the harsh realities of a new world began to set in. Freed slaves found themselves in a society that was, in many ways, still shackled by prejudice and inequality. They were free, yes, But the road to true equality was long and fraught with challenges. In the aftermath of emancipation, African Americans faced a myriad of hurdles. The promise of 40 acres and a mule, an attempt to provide economic stability to the newly freed, was largely unfulfilled. Many found themselves working the same lands they were once enslaved on, but now as sharecroppers in a system that was but a thinly veiled echo of the old. But amidst the struggle, the spirit of resilience thrived. African Americans built schools, established businesses, and created thriving communities. They fought for their rights, not just in the courtrooms, but in every facet of life. They strived for economic independence, education, and the right to vote, forging a path for future generations. Juneteenth, thus, became more than just a day of remembrance. It evolved into a symbol of the ongoing struggle for racial equality in America. It served as a yearly reminder of how far the African American community had come, and how far it still needed to go. It became a day to reflect on the strength and resilience of a people who refused to be defined by their past, but by their ongoing fight for a better future. It's important to remember that the legacy of Juneteenth is not confined to a day, or a month, or even a year. It's an ongoing narrative, a testament to a struggle that continues today. It's a story that's being written with every march, every protest, every vote, and every voice that stands up against racial injustice. Juneteenth became a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience, and a celebration of freedom. And it continues to shine, reminding us of the enduring spirit of a people and the ongoing journey towards true equality. Today, Juneteenth is celebrated with a rich tapestry of traditions across the United States. It is a vibrant day, steeped in history and filled with the spirit of resilience and freedom. In every corner of the nation, Juneteenth is a day of jubilation, a day of reflection, and a day of unity. From the bustling streets of New York to the sun-drenched boulevards of Los Angeles, communities come together to commemorate this pivotal moment in history. Parades filled with music and dance cascade through the cities, a colorful and joyful testament to the strength and endurance of those who fought for freedom. In towns and villages, educational events are held, where the stories of the enslaved and their journey to liberation are shared. Libraries, schools, and community centers become hubs of knowledge, where young and old alike delve into the past to understand the significance of Juneteenth. Cultural festivals are another integral part of the Juneteenth celebrations. These festivals are kaleidoscopes of African American heritage, showcasing the rich tapestry of music, art, food, and traditions that have evolved over the centuries. From soul food feasts to vibrant displays of African American art, these festivals are a celebration of a culture that has contributed so much to the American fabric. But Juneteenth is more than just a day of celebration. It is a day for reflection, a day to honor the sacrifices made by those who endured the shackles of slavery. It is a day to remember that freedom was hard-won, and that the fight for equality continues. It is also a day for commitment, a day to pledge ourselves to the ongoing quest for justice and equality. It is a day to remember that the road to freedom was long and arduous, but the spirit of those who walked it was indomitable. As we celebrate Juneteenth, we remember the long road to freedom and recommit ourselves to the ongoing quest for equality and justice. Juneteenth is more than just a date on the calendar. It's a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure and triumph. It stands as a pivotal point in our nation's history, marking the end of a dark chapter and the beginning of a journey towards liberty and justice for all. The Emancipation Proclamation, a beacon of hope, was unfortunately belated in its enforcement, leaving many African Americans in the throes of bondage long after its declaration. This delay, though disheartening, serves as a stark reminder of the arduous road to equality, a road we are still traversing today. Juneteenth is not merely a celebration of the end of physical enslavement, but also an acknowledgement of the ongoing struggle for racial equality. It's a day where we honor the courage, resilience, and indomitable spirit of those who fought and continue to fight for freedom and equality. But let's not forget that Juneteenth is also a day of joy, a day to celebrate the rich cultural heritage and significant contributions of African Americans to our society. It's a day filled with community gatherings, parades, educational events, and cultural festivals that serve as a vibrant reminder of the strength and resilience of a people who refuse to be broken. So next time you hear about Juneteenth, Remember, it's not just a day of celebration, but a day of reflection, remembrance, and a call to action.